Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our fourth episode of Career Insider. And in this series, we are going to talk about career in politics. All right. So if you are just tuning in and this is your first time watching Career Insider, we are a series of webinars, 1 hour webinars where we quickly dissect and dive deep into various kind of careers. For our past 3 episodes, we have actually spoke about IT computer science. We spoke about creative communications, working in a creative agency, and also in our last week's episode was about professional accountancy, where we interviewed an audit director from Deloitte. So if you are interested in any of these episodes, you can actually go to our Facebook page and click on videos. The videos are all there. Okay. So I have not introduced myself yet. My name is Brian Law, and I'm from Study Hub Student Advisory. And this Career Insider series is brought to you by Study Hub Student Advisory and JS Study Solutions. So no matter where you are at right now, whether you are in JS Study Solutions or Study Hub Student Advisory, there is one thing that I would like all of you to do for us, which is share this stream out, like our page, okay? Show it to more people, okay? We really want more young people, more students to really listen to this opportunity sharing, because as you have saw the poster earlier, our guest speaker is YB Hannah Yeoh. All right, so it is not an everyday thing where you get to listen to YB Hannah to share about her career insights. Okay, so without further ado, please share the stream out there, okay, and let more people know it. All right. So I just want to get a quick overview of who are our audience today. Okay, all of you here, if you are a student, disregarding you are in high school or college, please press 1. Please type 1 and leave it at the comment section. Okay. If you are a teacher, please type 2. Okay, and leave it in the comment. And if you are others, you are young working adult, or you are a retired person, or you are just not a student and not a teacher, please press 3. Please type 3. Okay. All right. So we have quite a few. We have, most of you are students. Okay, we have Oscar student, Sean student, Victor student, Hurin, Hazana student. Okay, so most of you here are young people. Great. I really look forward to all of your questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions at the comment section below for YB Hannah Yeoh, and we will try to go through each and every questions. Okay, so we have Justin here, who is others. Okay, maybe Justin, you can share with us. How are you? Are you working, or what industry do you work in? Justin, Hasmi, Yvonne, they are all 3. Okay, great. All right. So I'm pretty sure you are really looking forward for this session today. So without further ado, okay, let's give a big, we can't do round of applause. So lots of likes and loves for YB Hannah Yeoh.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, YB. Thank you for doing this with us.
No problem.
Okay. So YB, let's dive straight into the topic today, because I think a lot of our audiences here are really interested with your background. As we all know, you were the state assembly person for Subang Jaya since 2008, and right now you are the MP for Segambut, right? Maybe you can give us a quick overview, YB Hannah, on what makes you kickstart your career at the age of 29 in 2008.
Okay, so I've just recently done an extensive podcast session. I have 6 episodes explaining the reason why I joined politics, but because of the limitation in time today, I won't be able to share it all here. But you can listen to the podcast. The link is in my bio on Instagram, and it's also on YouTube, so you can have a listen. Now, I studied law and I did 4 years of my degree, 4 years, 2 years training in KDU, another 2 years in University of Tasmania. And after completion of law, I stayed on to do my graduate certificate of legal practice. And then I got a job as a lawyer in Hobart, but I could not get PR. And as a result, I had to come home. So after coming home, I worked as a lawyer for 3 years. And then I decided I have enough of law. I went into event management. And after event management, I was then asked to contest for election, and I ran on a ticket of DAP, and I won. And since then, I've been a state assemblyman for Subang Jaya until the last general election. So I've been in politics 12 years now. Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, okay, please leave your questions at the comment section below. So, YB Hannah, you did mention that you studied law, you practiced law, I think in both Malaysia and Australia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like many politicians out there internationally and also Malaysia, there are many lawyers in politics. Barack Obama is a lawyer, Bill Clinton is a lawyer, Tony Blair is a lawyer. In local scene, we have got YB Gobind Singh is a lawyer, YB Wong Chen is a lawyer, YB Nagakoming, and yourself as a lawyer. Is there a particular thing about studying law and politics?
Okay, I'll be very honest with you why I did law. I did law because I'm not good in maths and science. So sometimes when you are choosing a degree to study, I knew what to avoid, because I made the mistake of going science in secondary school, and I knew that was a big struggle for me. It's something that's not natural for me, and so I struggle a lot. And so I really wanted to make sure when I went to college and university, I do not repeat the same mistake I made in school. Just sign up for science because it's cool, or because all the smart people go to science stream. And so I wanted to go sign up for a degree that I was most comfortable in. And so language is something that I'm very comfortable with, the usage of words. And so I signed up for a law degree simply because law degree at that time, I'm talking about 1998, yeah, was one of the cheapest courses to study. And also I was told, I spoke to a few lawyers before that, I was told that it's a very good basic degree. So with a law degree, you can enter business, you can do other things. So it's a stepping stone to pursue other things. And so as a result, I went for law. Also, a lot of people don't know, I have a sister my age. So I was born in January. 1 month later, or 2 months later, my mom conceived, and in the same year in December, my sister was born. And so for my father, he was actually paying through, it was a struggle for him to pay for 2 girls at the same time during semester, same year in university. And so I had to make sure that whatever I studied was affordable for my father and for my parents. So law was definitely an option. That's why I did training 2 years here and then 2 years in Australia.
Yeah, if you do 4 years in Australia straight, it's going to cost a lot more, right? Yes. And I didn't know it back in 1998, law is one of the more affordable courses to do.
At that time, I was paying one semester 5,000. My cost of living at that time was lower than living in Kuala Lumpur. I mean, that's how little. My rent in Australia at that time was $50 a week. That's very cheap, right?
Yeah. 50 Aussie
I can't even get it in KL.
In the big cities now, we are looking at 1,000 ringgit a week for a room. I mean, for in Australia. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, very good insight and overview of your education past experience. YB Hannah, I think a lot of students here are really interested to find out and to know more. What is it like being a politician from such a young age, right? And what is a day in the life of a politician like? How do you start your day and how do you end your day?
Okay. First of all, you need to know, those of you who are interested in politics, we have 3 levels of government. So we have the local level, So people who make policies there are known as counsellors, and they don't run for election, they're appointed at the moment. And then you have the state level, state assemblymen, and they make laws at the state level, okay? And then you have federal, member of parliament, and they make laws in the national parliament. So depending on which level you're at, if you're running for a state election, you are a state assemblyman, day-to-day jobs will for all three levels, it requires meeting people, okay, going out to understand their problems, and then coordinating with government agencies and then solving their problem. So there's every day is different depending on the appointment and depending on the issues that come out. So if it's parliament in session, then every day you're in parliament. But if parliament is not in session, for example, like today, I met with all my residents' representatives to have a briefing with TMB to understand why during the MCO, TMB bills, why were they built in such a way? So every day is different according to the issues during that season. But all of these jobs, the similarity between local, state, and federal is you must have a love for people. That is the basic common trait you need to have, love for people. Okay. And if you don't like meeting people, you will struggle to be a politician. So there are politicians who say, I like making policies, I like research, I like debating, but please, I don't want to meet people. Then politics is not for you, because for you to make policies, you have to go to the ground, you have to listen to the people. And so that's where I think you need a balance of being intellectual, being very clever in whatever you do, and at the same time having compassion, patience in engaging, listening to stakeholders and meeting them. And so that requires both. What is a very common question people ask, what's the basic requirement to become a politician? You need at least, I think, a basic SPM, okay? But really, they don't have this academic requirement. For running elections, you just have to make sure that you're a Malaysian, you're above 21 years old, and you do not have records. Okay, because it makes sense. So if you represent a fishing village, and that place, they are all fishermen, then if you are a fisherman, you would be the best representative for that place. Okay, so it does not mean that only a doctor can make a good politician. Yeah, it really depends on the constituency that you represent. Who are these people that you're representing? Because ultimately, your official job is to bring their voices to parliament so that their wish list, whatever they are struggling with, can be heard in parliament. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think that's a very good overview of the political system in Malaysia, and I think what YB Hannah shared in a nutshell. In order to be a politician, you need to be a people's person, right? You need to be good in communication, and you need to understand your community, to be able to represent them. YB, I just have an add-on question I would like to ask you. There are only 222 constituency in Malaysia, right? And not everyone can be a member of parliament, right? What are the other work areas in politics for maybe some students who are not the best in communications, but they are really good in doing the detail work. They are more of analytical thinking person. What are the other areas of politics that they can try out?
Okay, so if you are not in, you don't like to be a frontline politician, that means you don't want to be the face to go out and do all this. You can be a special assistant. Okay, so like my office, the member of parliament's office, I have 9 staff. Okay, and they all have different background, different degree. One person may have the love of admin work. We have allocation, they want to make sure that paperwork is all in order. They can. Then I have another one who's a designer. She designs posters and all that, and then she is a videographer. She makes videos. So creative field can also be involved in politics, because at the end of the day, you can have policies, but if you don't have the art of communicating that to people, also no use. Okay, then I have other assistants who studied law, study, pharmacy, all kinds of background. You can actually serve because you have the same passion of serving people. And again, the most important thing for me is you must enjoy working with people, talking to people. You must have patience. If you do not have patience and you're constantly throwing a temper because you get very impatient talking to people, then you're not the right person to work in this kind of office. So you can have special assistants working in the office. Then you can have researchers. There are many researchers who like policy but don't like meeting people. That's fine. Reading, you can help the member of parliament. So we have researchers. You also have people who actually work for the political parties. So people who work for the political parties, they are strategists. They also think about, they read polls. They do all kind of research to help the political party win elections. So that's an overview of what kind of work you can actually do. There are people who might not want a career in politics, but they love helping out and becoming a volunteer. So we also have people like that to come and help out seasonal during MCO. They come and help with food distribution. So we also have volunteers like that. Yeah.
I see. Okay. That's a very good overview. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in to the live session today, this is Career Insider episode 4, and I'm speaking to YB Hannah Yeoh. We are discussing on career in politics. All right. So YB, I know working in politics is basically putting yourself in the front line as a public figure, right? There are a lot of things you may be giving up. Can you briefly give us an idea? Did politics give you less freedom after being a public figure? Will you go out less with your family? What are you giving up here?
Good question. This is my third term. So in my first term, I was 29 years old. I was married already at that time, but I didn't have kids. And so I didn't mind working the long hours. And also at the age of 29, I think my greatest struggle at that time was losing my personal space to hang out with my friends. So I cannot on a Friday night go out and hang out and watch a late night movie because, like I said, in my calendar, the next day is 7 a.m. Gotong royong, spring cleaning with residents. Okay, so to me, that was the hardest struggle for a young person. But the moment a parent, then this kind of struggle is no longer just exclusive for politicians. Even young parents have to give that up. You cannot just go out and lepak out whenever you like because you have kids to look after at home. And so that progression was very normal after that. But there's one thing I want to caution people who want to take this up, career in politics. It is not something that you can decide whenever you want to walk out on it. So if you take a normal job, after the second year, for example, your contract is coming to an end, you can say, well, I don't want to renew my contract. I want to find another job. But in politics, the moment you sign up for it, you win an election, the term is a minimum of 3 years to 5 years. So if you quit halfway after being elected, it will trigger a by-election. And you'll be the most hated person in that place because you make people come out, spend money, all coming out on polling day to vote again. And so that's career in politics is not something that you can decide. I walk out of it now. I don't feel like I want to do this anymore. Yeah. So it can be very tiring. And that's why I say at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy people, this will be a struggle for you. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years now, and we are talking about every week having to meet people. And having to face people. So it's really not easy if you don't have a love for people.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe we can look into some of the audience questions. So we have the first question from this is Jun Kim from UNICEF. His question is, how difficult is it to be a young and woman politician in Malaysian politics?
I remember Jun Kim. I think I went to UNICEF and I met him. How difficult to be a young and woman in politician in Malaysian politics? Okay, today, so difficult anymore. But in 2008, when I first started, not many young people at the time, but 12 years later, now you have a lot of young people. So being young is not really a problem. Being woman also, I don't think it's an issue. I represent Segambut, and Segambut is in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. So
Yeah.
everybody here, they are used to having women leadership. So it's not very difficult. I think how difficult to be a politician in Malaysia, that I can tell you is very difficult, because politics is about collective responsibility. I cannot on my own become a government. My party alone cannot be government. We have to rely on coalition politics, whereby you have to work with other people. And sometimes in politics, not everybody is perfect. Sometimes there will be members who are a liability to others. And so you have to ride along with that wave of popularity. But when things go bad, it's also responsibility. And so I think to be a politician in Malaysia, you have to be able to constantly pick yourself out every time you fall down, and then hope again. Being hopeful again, that is a challenge, because you have to self-motivate. For example, like now, we suddenly lost power in February after working so hard for so many years. Now what? Right? And then you don't just work your way up again. You have to also inspire those around you, your supporters, to tell them, hey, we can do this again. And so helping people to hope again in the face of just very dark times is not an easy task. And that, to me, I think is the greatest challenge. So being young is not a problem for me. Being woman is not a problem. But being a politician, because you are dependent on so many other factors to make it, that is quite tough. It's really teamwork.
Yeah. I agree. And based on what you mentioned just now, YB, you were mentioning it is a dark time, when the party suddenly lost power in February, right? And how do politicians, your friends, or you yourself, right, handle situations like that emotionally? Because I believe this is enormous amount of stress. And how do you manage your own mental health, right? Because there are expectations, and then there are attacks coming in from all sides. I'm just curious.
Okay.
What will you do? Yeah.
As a young person, I know that many people struggle with mental health, and so many people are always thinking about ending their own life when things go bad. My advice to you, if you're struggling with that, is please seek professional help. Talk to a professional counselor. Talk to people who can help you out. For me, definitely get strength and support. Number one is, of course, my faith, my spiritual walk. I'm a Christian. The other one is also support group. So I have teammates in the DAP, in my party. We have a former deputy ministers chat group that we maintain, and so we encourage one another, and of course family members and friends. So you have to talk it out. Don't keep everything inside you. So for me, if I'm feeling very down today, like when I'm reading the news, or this corrupt politician is freed from all charges, how do I pick myself up from that gloomy situation, right? I always remind myself, okay, I can grieve for it for a day, but tomorrow I must pick myself up again. So for me, I always set my eyes on the future. I keep thinking of the people who need me to rise up. For example, my children. If I give up today on the politics in Malaysia, but I actually still have the means to keep trying and keep fighting. And I should use that to do that for my children, who the children today are powerless to fix the problem. And so they rely on us, to fix that for them, so that when they become an adult, they actually can inherit a better nation. Yeah, I think it's my responsibility as a mother. For as long as I have breath, I have to keep fighting. I have to keep doing this for my children. Yeah.
I think this is so relevant to a lot of young people out there, especially during this trying times of MCO. Probably some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us our businesses are not doing well. I think this is very interesting advice that YB Hannah has given us. We have a question from Rachel. And Rachel's question is, what can I do as a young person right now to engage in politics? Say
Okay.
I have no relationship with any politicians, I just have a dream and aspiration for Malaysia. What can I do?
Okay, first thing you do is, if you are eligible to vote, please go and register as a voter. Okay, I know that we have passed the law in Parliament, um, allowing 18-year-old to vote,
18
but
years.
then that is not being implemented at this point yet. So you still have to physically go to a post office and register to become a voter. Please do that, and on voting day, come out and vote. Now, there are some people who say, well, what happened in February is a mockery of my vote. Despite me voting, we lost government, and people can hop. So what can we do? You now is not the time to give up on this process. If you give up on this process, right, then the bad people will always win and they will always make it to power. So we cannot give up. So we have to trust this process and continue to engage in it. I don't know, to be honest, whether in my lifetime I will see a clean Malaysia. I'm not sure if I can live to see that, but we have to keep trying. We cannot give up now, because if you give up today, the bad people win. Now, the second thing is, if you are really interested in politics, you can volunteer to become an intern with any of the politician. Like, again, I tell you this, politicians, there are two types. There are good politicians and there are bad politicians. If you intern with a bad politician, then you will be put off from joining politics for the rest of your life. Okay, so please do some research, find out which politician you can actually go and learn from, and nothing like trying it out yourself, because only by becoming an intern in the office and helping out, you have a clearer idea on what politics is about. Well, if you're going to study a degree in politics without having the actual experience of following a politician around and doing the mundane work, right, you can actually graduate and then feel so is nothing like what you have studied. Just like law, when you study law, you have this fantastic imagination of going to court, arguing your case out every day. But then when you come out chambering, then you realize, oh no, it's actually not like that. It's not glamorous at all. So I will say that anytime you have free time, please go and intern, because practical experience is the best teacher. Yeah, for you to have a taste of whether or not this career is actually suitable for you. So if you're a young person, these are the two things. Now, number three is also, every young person today is on social media. And social media is so powerful because it's your tool, is for you to air your grievances, to speak up. It becomes a platform for you more useful than owning a media. And so, because everybody now has social media, so you are able to speak and influence others. Your friends will listen to you. Your friends are unlikely to listen to me. Okay, so if you are updated on all the news and you know what's going on, when you share with your friends, they listen. And so you can actually become an influencer. So these are the three practical things: register to vote, be an intern, read up, be informed, and then you become an influencer. Tell people, don't give up. The last thing you want, I know that we have had so many movements, that we have those who say spoil your vote, Udi Rosak movement, and people will try to tell you, to discourage you from actually going out to carry out their responsibility. For as long as you are alive, you're a Malaysian, you have a duty to vote, not for your generation alone, but for the future generation. So please exercise that.
Thank you, YB. YB, is your office hiring interns?
Okay, now because of social distancing, we have a big problem because I don't have a big office, and I already have about 4 interns registered to come on board. But we have other politicians who actually take in interns. So
I
you
see.
can talk to Tony Pua, or you can actually email some of the political parties, ask them. But like I say, most important thing is make sure you know who this politician is. And I don't want people to go through bad experiences and then they are put off from politics forever. Yeah. But even if you actually encounter a bad politician, just be mindful that there are many types of politicians and there are also good politicians around. So don't just give up on politics because of one encounter.
Okay. All right. So make sure, if you're a student, I think politicians hire from 5 students after SPM today.
We actually, I hire, anyone. If I have vacancy, and like I say, if the person is right for the job. So what
see.
I'm looking for is somebody who's independent, have a love for people, I know some officers who actually hire retirees to sit and deal with complaints because they are very patient in hearing people out. And these are some of the people that you need, to engage in politics.
That's
I
right.
see some of the questions here. Can I just answer straight away?
Yes, which one, YB?
Okay, so this Rickson asks, would economics be a good degree for going into politics? Let's just say that any degree that you have can be a good degree going into politics, but that is just hate knowledge. It helps you when you're dealing with economy. Like I say, to win votes, you don't just talk about economy, you have to know about childcare. You have to know about good governance, about local issues. These are some of the different issues that affect people, for people to be convinced that they should give you a vote. Any degree is fine, I think, as long as you have two things, love for people, and the other one is common sense. There are many, many brilliant politicians, but if you don't have common sense, also no use. Common sense and love for people. I think everybody has that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So maybe we can look at one more question from the audience. There's a question from Neng Chen, right? So Neng Chen asks, what do you do if one is defeated in an election? We too have to make a living, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, for some of you might not know, you can be a full-time politician or part-time politician. Full-time means this is your day-to-day job. Part-time means, for example, if I'm a doctor, I still run my clinic, but I also run a office to serve the people. Okay. So the only difference in this is you get your taxation is different. So if you are a full-time politician, you don't get taxed as much your party, because we actually give a contribution to our party. Every political party requires that. But if you are part-time, then you are taxed more. Okay, so difference, you can actually have that. Now, I saw another question. Somebody asked, how important is it to have working experience before going into politics? I would tell you that working experience is so important for me. I went through that, working as a lawyer, working as in event management, to help me to become this politician that I am today. In event management, I handle VIPs. I will tell you that being punctual is important. Okay, not becoming a diva is so important. You have to have humility in politics. You don't demand for the best jersey, for the best souvenirs, or gold-plated chairs, gold-plated spoon, and all. You don't demand all that, because you are like people. You are elected by the people to serve them. So you have to be one of them. So humility is important. So I will tell you that working experience is so important for you to become an effective politician. Because if you don't have that working experience and you go straight into policy, you have no idea how hard it is for people out there to get a job, to maintain a family, what it means to, at the end of the month, not have any money left for yourself because you are just paying bills. Okay. When you have working experience outside, you know how hard it is to maintain a car. Because of that, you know how important public transportation is. So working experience will help you relate better to people, and therefore you become more effective in making reforms and policies that help people.
Working experience gives you empathy. You know what people are going through, right? How about YB? Maybe you can share with us what are some of the occupational hazards in politics? Are there
very good question. Okay, first disadvantage is there's no job security. Every 3 to 5 years you lose your job and then you go for re-election, so people have to choose again, and you don't have EPF. Okay, and so and also, once you're a politician, you're always going to be labeled as one. So there's no such thing as, after I leave politics, I want to go back and do something else. People will always see you as the politician, right? Okay, so that's one thing. There's no job security unless you keep winning an election. Okay. Now, number two is you lose your private life. One of the first things I had to do when I was contesting for election in 2008 was to delete my social media accounts, because you represent so many different types of people, and some people don't like the way you dress. Some people, there's a need to be yourself, but at the same time, you also need to know, as a public figure, there will be things that you do that are no longer suitable for public to see. Okay, so like now, even if I'm very comfortable wearing a shorts to go out, you will never see me in shorts going to the market.
Mm.
Because I am a public figure and I represent
Yeah.
so many different people. People may not be comfortable seeing me like that.
Yeah.
There are things that I cannot just freely tweet about. Social media can be very powerful if you have self-discipline, but if you don't have self-restraint, you tweet what you are really thinking inside here, or it can cost you a lot of votes. Okay, and we
Yeah.
have seen some really, really bad tweets. So these are
Okay.
some of the things where uh, upon becoming a politician, your life is not just your own. You actually represent a group of people,
Mm.
and as a representative, you have to have a certain kind of standard in your behavior. Yeah. So
Right.
these are the disadvantages.
How about some of the some of the news that we sometimes heard from social media or even newspaper, right? Things like both sides, they hire people to attack you
Cyber
on social
troopers.
media, cyber troopers and things like that. Are those things really true? Are those things really real?
Yeah, if you look at cyber troopers, right?
Yeah.
Especially on Twitter, right after we lost government, there are a lot of new accounts established in March 2020, April 2020, May 2020. These are the
Okay.
accounts that I see, I immediately block because it's a waste of my time. I know they don't have a real face. They are, just cyber troopers account created to shape public opinion. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
are actually essentially not engaging with a real voter.
Mm.
And for me, these cyber troopers are real. I believe they are out there because I can see some comments are just copy and paste.
Mm.
Because I see that on my Facebook when people post comments. And I think politicians engage cyber troopers, you are lying to yourself because you think that these accounts or these comments are real, is created by yourself, but actually you are lying to yourself. The actual sentiment out there is not like that. Yeah.
Cyber troopers is a way of manufacturing sentiments,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I saw a
Um,
question. Does being a
yeah.
politician in Malaysia require you to have very good command of Bahasa Melayu? Yes. You need to be good in Malay language. Okay. So that's our national language. We need to be able to use that in communication in Parliament. You have to give speeches in Malay, and also when you go around, you have to write letters. So that is very important.
Yep. We have another question from Edsel Hon. Edsel's question is, sorry. Edsel's question, YB, how does one do politics if he or she is not charismatic? Uh,
Ooh, that's a bit tough. Okay. How does one do politics if he's not charismatic? Like say politics got many types. So maybe if you don't like meeting people, you might want to do research work, the backstage work, preparing or helping a politician out. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're trying to find questions that we have not addressed, and then we will address it one by one. We have a question from Jasly. Jasly's question is, hi YB, I'm an educator, meaning I think you are a teacher, right? Work in schools in 3 countries. I'm aspired to transform our education system. Does getting into politics help?
Yes. There are many ways to change policy. One is to lobby from outside. So like, NGOs, pressure groups, activists, you can. But nothing beats the effect of actually doing that policy on your own. And that requires you to win election and then become government so that you actually have the executive power to make policies and to change that. And that's why we talk a lot about winning the election and becoming government, because only when you're government, you don't have to scream from outside. You have the executive power to change the policy. And yes, getting into politics definitely help, but like I say, politics is not for everybody, frontline politics especially. So you can actually help or volunteer a politician who is like that. So like if you are very interested in politics, in education, you can talk to somebody like Teo Ning Ching, for example, who was the former deputy education minister. You can talk to her and then give your suggestion and give your idea. So look up some of these politicians who were holding that portfolio, and you can contribute directly. Yeah.
Yes. We have another questions from Stephen. So Stephen's question is, where do you see democracy will be for Malaysia with the recent political crisis where so-called backdoor government took over?
Yeah, good question, Stephen. The real solution, right, is really to have anti-hopping law. And for you to have anti-hopping law, you got to make sure that you get enough support in Parliament to pass that law. Otherwise, you have no choice but to go back to the conventional way of the polls and letting the people decide again. Election is a very expensive affair, and we have just had that in 2018. And so I really do not think that we are ready by going back to the polls at this very point of time when we are battling COVID-19. People are losing jobs. Schools have not reopened even at this point. So how can we be going to polls again, because of that? So I feel that the real solution to this is anti-hopping law. Time we just have to make sure that we get back power, and just to be able to find our way back to Putrajaya now. This backdoor government that you are talking about, first of all, they do not have a manifesto to start with. With no manifesto to start with means no promises made by people. I don't have to fulfill anything, right? And that's why the mandate from the people is so important. That's why the term backdoor came about, and that's why people are talking about going back to Putrajaya now. And definitely we will, like I say, we won't give up, and we will continue to use legal means to pursue this.
Thank you so much. Let's switch gear for a little bit, YB. You just mentioned election, right? And election is something every politician, disregarding you're running for a state or you're running for MP, you will probably need to go through the election part. What does it take to prepare for an election? Let's say election happens 2 months later. Yeah.
What are the preparation, you mean?
What does it take to prepare an election?
A lot. You need a lot of money. Now, I'm not talking about money politics. To run a state seat, you need at least 100,000 ringgit. For Parliament, you need at least 200,000 ringgit. Now, why? Because the area that you cover is bigger. So with a bigger area to cover, obviously more banners will have to go up. Nowadays, during election, we are no longer talking about banners, we are talking about billboards. Okay, so you have to erect mini billboards that cost a lot of money. You have to run rallies. For every rally, you need sound system. You need to hire screen, the LED screen. So all this require money, printing of materials, right? And majority of the money, I think, is on the materials, the banners, the campaign materials. After winning, then you have to fund your own office. So if you are not government MP, you don't get funding from government. You get very minimal, maybe like 100,000 ringgit. But if you are government MP, then you get funding to do your work. So you do a lot of fundraising. And now the clean politicians will struggle if we have snap polls suddenly, because we rely heavily on public donation. When the public themselves, they are losing jobs, they can't even find the means to feed themselves. Who has money to donate for your political campaign, right? Unless, of course, you are a corrupt politician, you have millions because you keep getting donations from everywhere, millions, then you are all ready for snap polls. But somebody like me, I don't have the means to go back on another snap polls right after 2018. And that's why I think election alone, the preparation is not easy. During an election, you tend to lose weight because there's a lot of walkabout, morning walkabout, afternoon walkabout, and night is rally, and then you repeat like that for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yes, and then you have to go to other constituency to support your colleagues as well.
Yes, and also the top leaders, then they have to talk to other parties and work out a coalition formula. In the event we win, this is how we're going to partner together and work together. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I love how you describe it, YB. It's very, very transparent. Okay. We have a question from Yvonne. Very interesting question. Just very curious, YB. If you were not a politician, what career would you pursue?
My dream job is actually to do talk show or to read news. I've always wanted to be a newscaster, but I find that I like engaging young people. So if I'm not a politician, maybe I might want to be a teacher, or become a motivator, to tell people not to give up. I feel that is my strength.
Something like a trainer, coach, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, interesting. So YB, for you have been in politics for more than 10 years, right? And you have seen, how do I put it? And you have seen many politicians come and go, and then
Yeah.
you have been from opposition to being in government. Do you think our Malaysian politicians are being underpaid?
Okay.
Because
In
I compare it with our neighboring countries, where the civil services and the politicians are being very well paid. Yeah.
Well, it's very hard to say.
Yeah.
For me, in today, our salary is a lot better than when I first started in 2008. When
Right.
I first started in 2008, the basic salary for an adun is about 4,000 ringgit. Of course, top up all the other allowance is about 8,000 ringgit. Today, I was told a chambering lawyer can earn up to 8,000 ringgit. So, times have changed, but I will tell you that today, again, it depends on which state you represent. So, if you represent a state like Selangor or Penang, the state government has money, and the salary scale has improved, so it's not that bad. But if you represent a very poor state, for example, and they don't have other means to pay you because of the salary structure, then it really depends on the area that you represent. But in any jobs that I've learned now, after going through so many jobs, no amount of salary will ever be enough. And that's why you need to maintain a simple lifestyle. When I was earning 2,000, 2,000 was not enough. Then I earned 4,000, 4,000 not enough. So you need to make sure, because of inflation, and also you have added responsibility, now you have all that, right? So as you progress in life, you will have different financial commitment. But most important is to not to live beyond your means. So if you are a young person, one of the ways to make sure that you are continuously happy going to work is to make sure that you live within your means. Don't try to copy your friends who may be able to afford a luxurious lifestyle. You become very miserable because you cannot keep up with that kind of maintenance. Or if you are dating somebody who has very high maintenance, please relook your relationship priority, because it's not easy to maintain that kind of lifestyle. Live within your means. Yeah.
Right. Living within your means. I think that is also very relevant to all young people today. We have a question from Hamilton. It is also related to money, but not money politics. This question is, Hamilton, is there any government pension for lawmakers after they are defeated or retired or relinquished from the post?
There is pension for lawmakers, but I think there is a certain requirement. I don't really know the details and the formula, but you need to serve a certain amount of time or years for you to qualify for this kind of pension. So there is some kind of security, but like I say, the pension, by the time if especially if you start young, if you start at 29 and then you lose your election already, your pension you can only get when you're 50 years old. So what are you going to do for the rest of the years? Yeah. So don't talk about pension as a young person. We need to find more meaning in the work that we do.
Interesting. Okay. We, there's a lot of comments here that ask YB to go digital if there is a snap poll. All right.
Okay.
To go.
All these comments, like I say, you need to make sure that of Malaysia they're ready. And you have to make sure election commission is ready to roll that out. So implementation is, I don't know how ready election commission is, but obviously, just like the whole debate now about e-learning, everybody say e-learning is easy, e-learning is the way to go. But how do you talk to children in Sabah who may not even have basic road to start with, or in Sarawak? In Sarawak, some of them don't have electricity, right? So when you're talking about e-learning, you're talking about, you imagine every household to have smartphone or laptop, but that may not be the reality for some of the communities in Malaysia. So when we want to explore, we have to make sure as a government, the entire nation is ready for that kind of implementation.
Agree. We have a question from a teacher. Teacher Shalina is from Catholic High School. She mentions, thank you, YB, for sharing honestly about your personal experience in politics. You're truly an inspiration to many of us. What personal life principles do you hold closely to keep you going on every day? YB.
Personal life principles, I think live an honest life. Don't go and harm people. Have clean hands, pure hearts. You know, at the end of the day, you can sleep at night. That to me is very important. If you go and harm people, or you try to cover up a wrongdoing, life can be so miserable. Yeah.
It'll make you can't sleep at night, right? Okay.
Honesty is very important. Yeah, even if you lose power, that's fine. You know, you don't go out and cheat people or harm people, you know, so that you can continue to live honestly as a person. That's very important.
Okay. So because we have time restraint, if you still have any more questions for YB Hannah, please leave your question at the comment section below. If you are just tuning in, this is a Career Insider Series 4. We're talking about career in politics with YB Hannah Yeoh. And if you have missed the earlier part, you can actually watch the replay later on. All right.
Brian, I want to answer a question by
Right.
Yvonne Chan on what's the one advice you would tell the young Hannah Yeoh when she started off politics.
Okay.
Comparing now to then in 2008, I think I took myself a lot more seriously when I was younger. And so my advice to young people who are taking social media a bit too seriously is, social media can be a powerful tool, but it's also a very nasty tool. That means you can just say whatever you say without taking responsibility. You can post a nasty comment, not knowing how that comment is going to affect the person who's at the receiving end, right? So for me, I was greatly impacted by the comments I was reading, the emails I was reading when I was. And so people who don't get their way say, you know, I'm not going to vote for you anymore. And I got so worked up and so affected by those comments. But today, now that I've grown older, don't take those comments personally. Don't be too serious about it. Don't take yourself so seriously. And so this is one thing I think we have to equip the young people to prepare them for social media, that not everything that you read online is true. Not every comment that people say about you is true about who you are. That does not the comment does not define who you are. Okay, and so until and unless our young people are ready to have that kind of lifestyle online, right, it can be very dangerous. That's where cyberbullying can happen. You can never understand how a comment about oh, you are so fat can actually end up affecting a young child, in young child taking away her own life, because you don't know what that young person is going through. You don't know self-identity issue that she's struggling with, or self-acceptance background. So when we nicely type comment like that, I think that is funny, but it can actually impact the recipient. And so what I feel is really needed now is to tell young people, social media is good, but use it carefully, and not everything that people say about you is correct. You know, I think self-confidence and acceptance of who you are is very important. But it's not easy, because young people usually, especially teenagers, they go through a period where they are trying to find out who they are, what is their purpose in life, who, you know, the definition of who they are is based on relationships. So if I have a boyfriend, oh, I'm special. If I don't have a boyfriend, that means I'm not pretty like the rest. So these kind of things, these are real struggles that young people go through. I just hope that we can have more of such discussion to help prepare young people for the real life. Yeah, and so I think this is where the teachers who are watching online, you have a real challenging role now to prepare our children young, equip them for life challenges. Don't shield them too much.
Thank you so much for your advice, YB Hannah. What you mentioned is really true. It reminds me of a friend who recently posted something about illegal immigrants, that something that she voiced out her opinion and something she believes in, and she got so much negative feedbacks and a lot of life-threatening messages. And what do you think, YB? Adding on to what you mentioned just now, do you think Malaysians are not mature enough for intellectual conversation? Instead of having a healthy debate, we end up leaving anonymous comments, death threats,
It
etc.
is very sad now, the situation now, because everybody is using social media to engage and to is about who can produce the most popular video every festival to get more likes. And so politicians now have to do cooking show, they have to do singing just so that they have more views. So it's no longer about what we can do in parliament. And if I do something on a policy or a situation that requires intervention of the authorities, maybe I only get less than 1,000 likes. But if I do post a blooper of me trying to cook and I cannot crack the eggs, and that can get triple the amount of views. And politicians know now, and so the funnier you are, the more popular, more views you have. And so now it's like a battle to be a comedian, for some of the politicians. You cannot imagine a former prime minister can tweet like a troll on social media to engage people. This kind of things is hard to believe, but it's happening in the real world. So I think that to sustain political interest in people on a particular issue is not easy. And that's why politicians have to find so many creative ways just so that people will listen. Yeah. But in the process of getting there, you have to do so many funny things, ride a motorbike, eat super ring, or do all kinds of things just to engage voters. Is sometimes you don't even recognize yourself because you have to reach out to your voters, right? So to me, I think the lack of political education in Malaysia is still very real. If you ask people who have been voting all their life, they may not be able to tell you the difference between member of parliament and state assemblyman. What is the difference between state and federal politics? Or why do I go to my member of parliament for a local council issue? People don't
Right.
understand governance like this because they were never taught in school. And that's one thing I really want to see education change, that our education system really equip people to do life, not just passing exam. Yeah. They need to know how it functions. Yeah.
Straight to the point, right to the heart. Okay. YB, do you have any other questions that you would like to address from the audience?
I think that's about all
That's about all.
for now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as we are coming to the end of our stream today, YB, I actually have a small segment for you. It's called the quick fire Q&A. And
Oh.
what we do is we always ask our guest speaker to answer it within a split second. Don't think so much about it. Can you do it, YB?
Again, try.
All right. So quick fire Q&A, you must answer it right away, okay? So you can maybe, or you can't give me an ambiguous answer like can, maybe, sometimes like that, sometimes like that, okay? So question one is, would you rather be a politician if this is something that you have to do for the rest of your life, yeah? Would you rather be a politician for the rest of your life or travel the world for the rest of your life?
Easy, travel.
Okay, easy. If you have unlimited resources, what will you do?
I'll buy a bungalow because I really want to do farming. I don't know. I've not thought about what I want to do if I have money. I'm very realistic. If I earn clean money, I know it's going to take a long time to acquire money for me to buy a bungalow.
Okay. Do you have any good friends on the opposite side?
Good friends.
Ah,
At the moment, I can't think of any.
okay. Would you rather be a minister or a speaker?
Speaker, because it's less stressful and less demanding on the hours.
Okay. Which one would you fix first? child marriage or child detention?
Child detention. Child detention is easier to solve. Child marriage, you have to deal with state powers.
Okay. Which is something that you have been doing prior to the change of government, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What will you be doing if you are not a politician? Yeah, this one you answered that just now, right?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. The next one is, what would you hope? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind if one day you are
I'm
no
no
longer
longer in
around?
politics. Okay.
You're no longer in the world. This
I
world, yeah.
definitely want to raise my two daughters well. I want my
Mm.
daughters to be okay without me, and to be able to live a purposeful life. Yeah, I think my focus will be on preparing my two daughters for that.
Mm. That your two daughters is the legacy.
Yeah.
It's your legacy.
And for
Alright.
politics, for me, I just want in the years to come that when people think about politics in Malaysia, they can still think about politics as clean because of politicians who have actually lived that out, and they will be able to say, yes, I know that it's possible to become a clean politician in Malaysia.
How does your ideal Malaysia looks like?
One that is free from racial discrimination, and one that is free from corruption. These were the two reasons why I joined politics.
Race and corruption.
Corruption.
Thank you so much, YB, for your time today.
Thank you.
It's been an honor speaking to YB Hannah Yeoh, Member of Parliament for Segambut, and she was also the Deputy Minister for Women, Family and Community. Thank you so much, YB Hannah.
No problem.
We will be playing a short podcast episode of YB Hannah. So if you want to check out and find out more about YB Hannah's story, why she joined politics, how she started in politics, and who helped her along the way, what are her aspirations, I think this 6 episodes politics is podcast is a very good overview of YB Hannah's life. Thank you so much, YB.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Bye, everybody. See you.
Bye-bye. So if you like what you see today, remember to like our videos, share it out to your friends, and we will see you next week. Take care.
You're listening to Project Thought with Hannah Yeoh.
After being confirmed as the candidate for Subang Jaya, I look around me. There were only 2 people with me, my husband and Edward Ling. We decided amongst 3 of us that Edward would be the campaign manager and Ram would be my political advisor, and I, the candidate. We then brainstormed a lot in our rented home in USJ 6. We had to call up our friends, people whom we have very good relationship with.
Hello?
Hey, are you going to support me? I'm going to do this crazy thing. We have made this big decision to run for election. We were all in our 20s. And so almost every help that we pull in were from young people going to support their friend who's running for election. To be honest, many of them I suspect were not even registered to be voters. I remember having to draw up my profile, my campaign leaflet, take a campaign photograph. All that preparation was a bit unreal, to be honest. I took my profile photo in a half shop, passport photo kind of shop, He asked me, what kind of photo do you need? I said, I need like a passport photo, but it's for my campaign poster. That's how I had my profile photo. And I remember drafting up my leaflet. I didn't have that kind of long achievement like other politicians, pages being written about their involvement in politics. All I had on my campaign leaflet was where I grew up, which school, which university, which college I went to, and then translate that into other languages so that I would have more pages. That was my campaign leaflet. I had to set up my blog. Blog was huge at that time, not Facebook, and at that time, no WhatsApp. We had to send out SMS to people to say, come to our political rally. You have to spend money sending SMS because sending messages not free. I had to delete all my social media accounts like Friendster, I had MySpace, even though I don't know music, but I don't know why I created a MySpace account. And I had to delete all that and start a new account simply because I was told that, oh, you're going to be a public figure now, campaign candidate. You don't want people to pull out photograph of you partying with your friend or wearing a sleeveless top. And so just to be careful, just deleted everything. And I remember writing my blog post, it's not something that is natural for a 29-year-old. It's hard work. That 2 weeks of preparation before nomination day, every night is just sitting at the dining table, me, Ram, and Edward brainstorming. I had to research. I had to go and study what are the issues in Subang Jaya. You start getting a lot of calls from people you don't know. I want to meet you. I'm the community leader here. I believe, you are going to be the candidate. So you got to come and meet me because I'm an important person. I got all this information, different people wanting to meet me because they said they are important in Subang Jaya. And at the same time, having no money to run the campaign. Remember, we didn't even have money for the deposit to run as a candidate. Tony Pua loaned me the 8,000 ringgit. Yeah. Took out 700 ringgit from our savings, and then we just bought some flags. Creating a blog didn't cost us any money. The passport photo was not expensive. So it was very doable for a 29-year-old. That was how I ran my campaign.
In the final episode of Project Thought with Hannah Yeoh, Hannah takes us through the unexpected results of her dive into the world of politics and shares her heart on what it's all meant to her. If you've enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of future episodes.